Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about something that is very important for all the MBA aspirants and for someone who's looking forward to getting into a job. So the topic is group discussion. Yes, it's a very important. Lot of people have already spoken about it. There'll be a lot of videos, but in this video what we're trying to do is trying to go into the detail, trying to understand the various nuances of GD from a recruiter's perspective, from someone who has already given a GD, and then trying to understand what is a GD, why is it important, and what are the various factors or criterias on which you are evaluated on, right? And of course in the end how you can ace the group discussion. That's the ultimate aim, right? So during the video, if you feel that there is something that we missed out, there is something that we should have added, there are some comments, questions, to put it up in the comment section. Okay, so with that, let's start with the video. What is a group discussion? Simple, right? Everyone knows, as the name suggests, a group discussion is where a group of people come together. They are given a topic, and on that topic they have to discuss, right? When it comes to discussion, a participant is expected to put forward their points. It could be knowledge, facts, opinion, and some pros and cons, and then when all of that is done, come with a conclusion, right? So this is usually for like 15 to 25 minutes basis the number of participants, and usually the participants is somewhere around 8 to 12, right? 8 to 15, 10 to 15, 10 to 12 is that's the range of the participants in a group discussion. And then of course there'll be a panelist. It could be from 1 to 3 people who will be evaluating you. So that is about what is a group discussion. Now why is it important, right? That is something that you need to think about, because if you're preparing for something, you need to know why is it important. First, let's look at it through a recruiter's perspective, right? So nowadays most of the organization, like all the organization, they want a person who speaks up, right? They don't want someone who's like a supporting actor. They want someone who takes the lead, takes the initiative and speaks up, right? And someone who's not like okay, whatever you say you're correct, says yes, no. So when there's a group discussion happening in the organization where they're talking about some plans or some new ideas, you should be able to put forward your points. If you feel that what's happening is correct, you put on your points. If you feel that something is not correct, or you have some different opinions and you think it could add value to the group discussion, then that's very, very important, right? And of course you don't have to mock someone to show that you're correct, but with that empathetic view of showing that yes, this is something that I feel, right? For that, group discussion is very important. Also for an organization's perspective, through GD, the recruiters can understand whether this person will be a right fit culturally in the organization or not. Of course, how do that, we'll discuss it in the further part of the video. Also whether this person has the right kind of knowledge, the right language, and whether there's a clarity of thoughts, right? So these are some areas why they take a GD in the evaluation process. Okay, now coming to how are you being evaluated in a group discussion. First and foremost, there is the knowledge and content part of it, right? So when I talk about knowledge and content, the knowledge should be relevant to the topic, of course, right? So when you talk about knowledge, now what are the points that will go into knowledge is, first, do you have the facts and do you have the opinions on the knowledge, on the topic, right? So and of course, have you gone through various researches? What are the experts saying about it? And if it's related to some organization, right? If it's some company policy that you're discussing, so what are the other companies doing? What are the industry best practices? What are something that we can learn? What are the new trends? Where is it going? Where is the market going? So all these aspects should be covered in your knowledge part. That is very, very important. Okay, this is the static part. Now what do you do with this knowledge is the next part. So are you able to analyze it well? Are you able to take inferences from it well? Are you able to comprehend the knowledge that you have, and then put it up so that it becomes useful in the group discussion, right? So that is the next part of it, right? Then also at the same time, the knowledge that you're putting forward, it should not just be like surface level knowledge. It needs to be very deep. Right, now when I will give you an example. So you're talking about pros and cons of, let's say, work from home, okay, and then you talk about saying that okay, you feel that because of work from home, the performance is going down, people mentally they are not fit, and then you say that there's no connection between people, social connectivity is reducing, and all of that. Now you said the pros and cons, that's done, but that's not enough. What you need to also say is what are your solutions. Now if you're saying that these are the cons, what are the things that you can do in order to improve the situation, right? And do you recommend work from home? Do you recommend people coming to office? Do you recommend hybrid structure? And on what basis are you saying? So that part of the knowledge is also very important, right? Your opinions, your thought, what is your thinking process, that needs to come forward. Okay, so that is on the knowledge and content part of it. Of course, your going deep into the knowledge is very, very important, and more so if you're looking forward to a job. In that case, your domain specific knowledge is also very important. For now, for MBA entrants or someone who's trying to get into MBA, basic level of knowledge is enough. Now next is basic level, as in you don't need to have a lot of domain specific, but basic you need to have a lot of things about the topic. Next is your communication skills, right? Very, very important. Group discussions, we know it's known for understanding the person's communication skills. So first is whether you're able to speak and articulate clearly, right? So whatever is going on in your mind, are you able to put forward it clearly? Are you able to understand people clearly? And the basis, are you able to articulate, give out points very, very clearly? So that is point number one. So that is very important. Second is your fluency. Now when I'm talking about fluency, I'm not talking about English fluency or language fluency. I'm talking about the knowledge or the content that you're speaking. Are you fluently able to speak it? There shouldn't be what is this, all those things should not be there. Okay, you need to speak continuously, maybe for 30 seconds, for 35 seconds, 40 seconds, without any breaks. That is very important, because in your communication skills, you need to come out as someone who is confident, who has good knowledge, who is knowledgeable, and who is smart, and of course who is reliable, right? So in order to prove this, you need to speak fluently. You should have decent amount of understanding or command of the language. Try to avoid grammatical mistakes. Try to speak as much as business knowledge or business words if you could use. Of course, and if you're trying for some specific courses, use those domain specific words. That will really be add on. And never be aggressive in what you're speaking. Always be assertive, right? You need to put forward your point. Be sure that this is what you want to say, but you don't have to say negative things to others, right? Always, again, very important, don't use any negative words. Avoid insensitive, controversial words or topics. Don't use all those harsh words. Of course, you can be a critic, you can point out the negatives or flaws, but at the same time, you need to come up with the solutions or give the positive outlook. Okay, these are things that are not working, but I think that if we do XYZ things, then it might work, right? Or if you're giving us suggestions, these are the suggestions that we can do. So that is in your communication skills. Another thing in communication that is important is your listening skill, right? It's not just what you're speaking, it's also about what other people are speaking and how you're able to understand and grasp that. This will help you in two ways. One is you'll be able to better revert back to them. If you know what they've spoken, then you can come up with your answer, solution, your idea, your thoughts. And also, if you're giving a conclusion, you know that okay, 10 people in the group, they have talked on XYZ things, so you can, and then you can talk about it in your conclusion and then speak that okay, after this the group feels that this is what is to be done, or this is our conclusion, right? So you need to keep notes. That is very important. Now in notes, don't write everything like line to line, word to word. Mention the key points. Okay, panel number 1 said this, panel number 2 said this. If there are names, you take names. If there is panel number, that is also fine. Okay, now in the next part in communication is your voice modulation. Very important, very impactful. So I'll give you an example. Some of my friends, one in particular, that person genuinely has like 2 different personalities. When you're talking to that person informally, he'll be like all fun, chill, voice is high pitched. But as soon as that person comes in a formal setup, there's the difference. That person talks very calmly. There is, there's a depth in the voice. That person knows what that person is speaking, very confident. So that is how your communication should be. And in that way you should modulate your voice, right? If you're speaking something that if you feel that okay, let's speak something, it's not very important, you can go a little faster. But if you have to, if you want to highlight something, then you can reduce your pace. And then that will add on to the confidence that we're talking about. It will give a different kind of positivity in your character. So that is again an important aspect. Focus on your voice modulation. Try not to speak from your throat, but from your chest, from your abdomen. That will definitely help. Again, it's not going to come out in one day, but keep practicing. Okay. Next aspect is your posture and your hand gestures. Again, simple posture is be straight. Don't be like very fixated or something. Be comfortable. And of course, if you can have a little bit of smile, that is always going to help you. And for someone who have a lot of hand gestures, for them it's very important that you do not play a lot with your hands, right? What you need to do is, for hand gestures and all these things, it's very important that you use your hands only and only when you have to highlight a point. Okay, only and only at that time you're going to use your hand gestures, because what happens is otherwise it distracts the person who's listening to you. It becomes the person will not focus a lot on what you're speaking, but more on your hand gestures, which we don't really want, right? So that is one thing. Second, how are you going to put your hands? Preferred is if you can close your fingers and then do all your movements, hand movements, then that's something that is recommended, right? That is about your posture, about your hand. Otherwise you can just keep them closed and then on your legs. That is a fine, that is not an issue. Okay. Then again, when you're thinking, don't think and speak. Don't think while you're speaking. Don't speak while you're thinking. I'm sorry. And think completely. Decide the points that you want to speak, and then go ahead and make your point, because that will ensure that your point is clear. There's no embarrassment later on. Okay. So that is about your communication skills. Okay. Now next, another important one, very very important one, is leadership and initiative taking skill. This is something that a lot of people are keen to understand from the GD. So how are you going to ensure that you are someone who has those leadership skills? First is group dynamics. If let's take the basics first. If someone has not spoken and if you give them a chance to speak, that is much appreciated. Ask them, do you have any points? Would you add on to anything? Do that. Second, if you think that group is going in some other direction of the topic, bring them back to the topic, giving the group a direction, giving them a proper flow, that okay, this is what we have discussed, now let's discuss about this, let's go to conclusion, let's talk about the pros, let's talk about the cons, let's talk about this aspect, that aspect. If you're giving a proper direction to the group, to the communication, to the discussion, that is very appreciated. Next is, again, if you're someone who's taking initiative, right? So when you're someone who's taking the introduction part, that is appreciated. If you speak in the starting 2, 3, 5 minutes, definitely it will have a positive impact on the evaluator's mind. Okay, well, of course, that is psychology, that is how it comes up. Also, when you're talking about group dynamics, it is very important that you're not someone who's like fixated on your point, that okay, these are my ABC points and this is what is going to happen. No, you're going to, of course, take in inputs from others. See that when you can create a win-win situation wherein okay, you give up some points, you take some points from the other people, and then based on that you come to a conclusion. That is the best possible solution, right? So you do that, which will also show that you're open to new ideas, you're a flexible person, and you're not someone who will be like very aggressive, right? And also the next part is your research and analytical part. We spoke about it earlier also. So what you need to do is, whatever points you have put forward, the knowledge part of it, whatever the group has discussed, based on that, what are the inferences, what are the ideas that you feel that okay, now we can go to next level. How do you plan the group discussion strategically, logically? Are you someone who's giving some very weird suggestion? No, they don't want that. They want the companies want you to consider the limitations in resources when it comes to constraints, considering all of them, then give some reasonable and effective solution, right? That is everything about MBA. someone who can give feasible and effective solutions while taking into consideration all the constraints and limitations. If you're able to give that right solutions, then you're done. So keep in mind that you're doing that, okay? And whenever you're talking, be positive, always have a smiling face, because that is very important in your group dynamics part. So if someone has not spoken, give them chance. If someone is cutting you, ask them, please let me continue my point. Or if you think that you have cut, be apologetic, say sorry, and then give others that chance, right? So that is again very, very important. You should be very natural. Don't try to imitate someone, but be very disciplined, okay? Don't put complete attention, be completely attentive. Comprehend the situation. That is very, very important. So as soon as you get the topic, comprehend the situation, try to understand what are the constraints, and don't just be a supporting actor. When I said about initiative taking, you are someone who has to keep taking initiatives, someone who if the group is not going in the right direction, come and say that no, this is not something that needs to be done. Be polite and do that, right? So this is all about the video, about what are the aspects that you on which you will be judged on or evaluated. Of course, we discussed about what is GD and why is it important. So if you guys want another video and on how to actually approach a GD, how do you introduce, what do you speak in the body part of it, how do you conclude, right? And what are the sample answers, what are the sample questions. So please, we would like you to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and please comment what do you think, what went right, what we could have improved, so that really encourages us. Thank you so much and all the very best.